$20,000. That's the number where the panic stops happening every month. Not where it disappears, where it stops being the only channel your brain plays on repeat. You hit it, and something shifts in your chest. Not relief. Not yet. Just the recognition that you've built a small wall between you and complete collapse. You have enough now for the emergency that hasn't happened, the car transmission that's grinding but hasn't failed, the tooth that needs a crown you've been delaying for 7 months. You can't do everything, but you can do something, and something, when you've had nothing, rewrites the way you sleep. This is early stability, the foundation you were supposed to build in your 20s but couldn't, because you were too busy calculating grocery totals in your head before the cashier scanned them. $20,000 doesn't make you rich. It makes you ready. Ready to stop making decisions purely out of fear. You open a brokerage account. You put in $1,200. You don't know what you're doing. You know you have to start. The market dips 6% the first month. You don't pull it. You've learned something nobody taught you. The only way forward is through exposure. $50,000. You're 28 now, maybe 31. The age doesn't matter. What matters is you crossed into a different room, and the air feels different here. You have a year of expenses saved, an actual year. You run the numbers at 2 a.m. just to see them confirm what you already know. If everything collapsed tomorrow, rent, utilities, food, minimum loan payments, you'd survive for 12 months without a single new dollar coming in. That number sits in your mind like a stone you can't stop touching. Solid. There. This is the foundation people talk about when they've already built it and forgotten what it cost. You haven't forgotten. You remember the $1,340 balance. You remember putting the olive oil back. This $50,000 came from 140 micro decisions that nobody saw and nobody celebrated. Saying no when everyone else said yes. Staying in on a Friday because going out meant $80 you couldn't get back. Driving the car with the cracked windshield for 9 more months because $400 for glass meant $400 not compounding. You start thinking differently now. Not about safety, about leverage. You've got enough to stop defending. You start thinking about attacking. You buy your first real investment. Not $1,200 in an index fund. $8,000 into something with a thesis. A rental property down payment. A chunk of equity in something you've researched for 6 weeks. It's not reckless. It's calculated. And the calculation is possible now because the foundation can take the weight. This is what 50,000 represents. The point where you stop playing not to lose and start playing to win.
$100,000. You are 33. You've never said the number out loud to anyone except your partner. And even then you whispered it, like admitting it too loudly would make it vanish. 6 figures. The phrase people use when they're pretending not to talk about specifics. You're not pretending. You know the exact number. 103,740. You check it twice a week, not out of anxiety anymore, out of respect. That number is a machine now, and the machine is starting to run without you. You made $4,100 last year in investment returns. You didn't work for that $4,100. You positioned for it. You built the structure, and the structure paid you while you slept. while you worked your actual job, while you sat in traffic thinking about nothing. The compound interest people talked about in theoretical terms, the graphs you saw in articles. It's not theoretical anymore. It's showing up in your account like a paycheck you didn't clock in for. And you feel it, the acceleration, the turn. This is the major turning point. Not because 100,000 is enough. It's not. It's because 100,000 is the proof of concept, the proof that the strategy works, that the decisions you made in the dark at 20,000, the sacrifice at 50,000, they weren't just survival, they were setup. And the setup is starting to pay. You don't tell people this. You've learned that talking about money at this level makes people uncomfortable. They either think you're bragging or they think you're lying. Neither conversation is useful. So you stay quiet and you keep building. $250,000. You are 38. You have equity in a property worth $140,000. You have a brokerage account sitting at $87,000. You have a business generating $4,800 a month that you started on weekends 3 years ago. You still drive the same car. You still buy the store brand olive oil sometimes. Not because you have to, because the habit is embedded in you now, and you're not sure you want to remove it. It reminds you where you came from. It keeps you sharp. This is long-term wealth building, not the destination, the vehicle. 250,000 opens doors that don't have signs on them. Doors that only appear when you have enough capital to be taken seriously. A private real estate deal your friend's uncle mentions at a barbecue. A fractional investment in a business that's not advertised anywhere. A conversation with someone who manages $8 million and sees you as a peer, not a student. You are in different rooms now, and the rooms have different rules. You make a decision that would have been impossible at 50,000. You write a $30,000 check into something that might return nothing. You do it because you've run the scenario, and even if it goes to zero, the machine keeps running. That's the difference. At 20,000, losing 30,000 would end you. At 250,000, losing 30,000 is a tuition payment for a lesson you'll carry into the next deal. You are not reckless. You are not gambling. You are trading dollars for information at a level where the information is worth more than the dollars. You stop measuring success by how much you make. You start measuring it by how many decisions are optional. The job you don't have to take, the meeting you can decline, the trip you can book without checking the balance first. The freedom is not dramatic. It doesn't arrive with trumpets. It arrives on a Tuesday when you realize you haven't thought about your checking account in 11 days. And 11 days, when you used to check it twice a day, is a lifetime. The shift. The milestones are not the point. They never were. 20,000 is not about the money. It's about the panic stopping. 50,000 is not about the savings. It's about the foundation that lets you build instead of defend. 100,000 is not about 6 figures. It's about the machine proving it works. 250,000 is not about the $250,000. It's about the rooms you're allowed into and the decisions you're allowed to make. The number is just the marker. The real change is in what you no longer have to do, what you no longer have to fear, what you no longer have to become. And somewhere right now, someone is staring at $1,340. They're lying on a secondhand mattress. They're putting the olive oil back. They think this is about money. They don't know yet it's about distance. The distance between who they are now and who they'll have to become to reach 20,000, then 50,000, then 100,000. The milestones don't ask if they're ready.
Don't ask if the trade is worth it. The milestones just sit there, waiting. And whoever shows up consistently, without flinching, without stopping to ask why it has to be this hard, they cross them, one by one, in silence, the way it's always been done. $20,000, early stability, enough to breathe. $50,000, solid foundation, enough to build. $100,000, the turn, enough to prove the machine works. $250,000, the doors, enough to play a different game. The balance is $1,340. It always starts there. It always will.